In this session, we're going to test how autoscaling works based on the target tracking policy. First, let's open the web page using the load balancer. From the search bar, type EC2 and go to the EC2 menu. On the left, click on the load balancers, select the load balancer, and copy the DNS name. Open a new browser tab, paste it, then press Enter. Just like we saw in the previous session, you will see the web page. And when you refresh the page, you can see that the load balancer works well. Now we will increase the CPU utilization rate that we set as the target in the target tracking policy. We are going to apply load to the two instances that were created by autoscaling through the application load balancer. In this session, we will do this using a simple Apache bench test. Of course, there are many other tools available for load testing. However, since those tools require installation and are a bit more complex to set up and use, we will go with Apache Bench Test, which is very easy to use and can be run right away. First, let's open PuTTY and access VPC 01 public EC2 A1. Once connected, change to root user and clear the screen. Apache Bench is included in the httpd tools package. Since Apache is already installed on this instance, this package should also be installed by default. Let's check it just in case. Type dnf install httpd-tools-y. As you can see, it's already installed, so there's nothing more to do. But if it's not installed, go ahead and install it now. Next, we're going to apply a load to the application load balancer. Let's type a simple command. Type ab-n 200,000-c 3000 http. And we will enter the DNS name of the application load balancer. To get the DNS name of the load balancer, let's go back to the load balancer screen. Select the load balancer and copy the DNS name from the details section. Go back to PuTTY and paste the DNS name into the command. Let me quickly explain this command. -n 200,000 tells Apache Bench to send a total of 200,000 HTTP requests to the target URL. -c 3000 specifies that up to 3,000 requests will be sent concurrently. In other words, Apache Bench will try to keep 3,000 requests active at the same time, simulating a high load on the server. And we provide the URL of our application load balancer, which will distribute the load across the instances in our autoscaling group. By running this command, we will generate enough load to increase CPU utilization on the instances, which will allow us to see how the target tracking policy responds. Now press Enter to start the Apache Bench test. This will continuously send load to the application load balancer. Now let's monitor the average CPU utilization of the instances that are registered as targets. Go back to the console. From the search bar, type CloudWatch. Right-click and open in a new tab. On the left, click Metrics and choose All Metrics. Select EC2, then choose Per Instance Metrics. In the search box, type CPU utilization and press Enter. From the list, choose the instances tagged as VPC 01 ASG EC2. You will now see a graph showing the average CPU usage for both instances. To make it easier to view, let's change the time range at the top to 1 hour. Now let's wait and see the CPU usage. It may take a while for the values to rise. After a while, you will see the CPU utilization rate of both instances is higher than we set in the tracking policy. Let's go check if autoscaling worked as expected. Go back to the EC2 menu and click on Instances on the left. In the Instances screen, you should now see that the number of instances with the tag has increased from 2 to 4. This means that auto-scaling successfully launched 2 additional instances. Let's look at the details in the auto-scaling groups. On the left, right-click the auto-scaling group menu and open it in a new tab. Click the auto-scaling group and then go to the Activity tab to review the activity history. If you look at the activity history, you will see that 2 new activities have appeared. Let's take a closer look at the third activity. It says, Alarm Triggered Policy VPC 01, Policy 01 changing the desired capacity from 2 to 3. This means that the CPU utilization of one of the 2 existing instances exceeded the target value defined in the tracking policy. As a result, a CloudWatch alarm triggered the tracking policy, which then updated the desired capacity from 2 to 3. Next, you will see this message. An instance was started in response to a difference between desired and actual capacity, increasing the capacity from 2 to 3. This tells us that since the desired capacity was increased to 3, there was now a gap between the desired and actual capacity. To close this gap, new instances were started. In other words, a scale-out event occurred. Now, if you look at the fourth activity, you will see a similar message. The CPU utilization of the remaining instance also exceeded the target value defined in the tracking policy. Again, a CloudWatch alarm triggered the tracking policy, which caused the auto-scaling group to increase the desired capacity once more. As a result, additional instances were launched. Now let's go back to PuTTY and stop the Apache Bench test. If the test has already stopped, just leave it. If the test is still running, press Ctrl+C to stop the test. Let's go back to the web browser and refresh the page. If you refresh the page a few times, you will see responses coming from all 4 instances, including the 2 new instances that were just added in the same availability zone. Let's also check this from the target group. Go back to the EC2 menu, click on Target Groups on the left, and select the target group. Under the Targets tab, you will now see 4 instances registered. If you don't see them immediately, refresh your browser and check again. So here's what happened. We started with a web page running on 2 servers. As the load increased, auto-scaling was triggered, and based on the scaling policy, 2 more instances were launched. And the traffic is distributed across 4 instances. The website can handle the increased traffic much more effectively. One more thing to remember is that we set the maximum capacity of the auto-scaling group to 4. So no matter how high the CPU utilization rate goes up, the total number of instances will not go more than 4. And that concludes the session. In this session, we went through how the auto-scaling works with the scaling policy. In the next session, we will take a look at the opposite process, which is scale-in. Since it takes some time to scale in completely, I recommend that you wait a bit before moving on to the next session.